So good morning. My name is Joyce Messick, and I am the CEO and founder of Finding Trusted Care. So with a show of hands, how many of you have children? Okay. How many of you have sought babysitters or caregivers through referrals from neighbors or neighborhoods or college students, high school students? And how many of you have children with special needs? That would be me. How many of you know somebody who has a child with special needs? And so herein lies the problem. There's limited access to qualified caregivers that need to have a unique skill set to service individuals with special needs. So there's behavioral challenges, there's communication deficits. 30% of children with autism will be nonverbal or have limited communication and need assistive technology devices. Or we have individuals who have some physical challenges. What I've noticed over the last 20 years is there's an over-reliance on family and friends to provide this, and generally it comes from grandparents. What I notice as those behavioral challenges get bigger and grandparents just physically can't manage it anymore, they either get sick and or they end up passing away. And so we've created a solution to that problem for these families. So Finding Trusted Care is a subscription-based platform. We connect families with special needs loved ones to experienced and qualified caregivers. So meet our caregivers. We have board-certified behavior analysts, we have registered behavior technicians, special educators, paraeducators, special needs service providers like your PT, OT, speech, people who work with adults with special needs or children, and college students who are seeking professions in the special needs field. Finding Trusted Care is the first to market caregiving platform specifically focusing on servicing the special needs community. Families can access our platform for $50 a month or $300 for the year. We're actually adding a tier 3 model to our platform so they can come on for $9.99 a month, and then they will incur a $10 booking fee if they successfully confirm a booking. Caregivers on our platform access it for $100 a month. This includes all their background checks and everything that we need to do to onboard them onto our platform. The platform is super easy to use. Families can onboard through our easy-to-use app in about 10 minutes. It takes our caregivers about 20 minutes to access and onboard with us. We have really simple, easy to use scheduling process through our app. Families can go on, they can request a caregiver and send it to multiple caregivers. They don't have to wait for that back and forth return. And then once they have a caregiver that they like and they've accepted the booking, they go ahead and confirm that booking with the caregiver. So why now? Ruth is a good friend of mine. She received her son's autism diagnosis 30 years ago. Autism rates at that time were 1 in 10,000. Today, they're 1 in 36. So we are seeing huge numbers of individuals with disabilities. 20 years ago, there was a huge increase in Down syndrome rates, and we know that 6.5 million individuals in the U.S. have an intellectual disability from various issues, chromosomal disorders to genetic mutations to traumatic brain injuries. So our business model is we are going to acquire 200 family subscriptions and 100,000 caregiver subscriptions, and we project in the next 5 years to be a $100 million company. And how do we get those numbers? So our market validation is care.com. In 2018, they had $192 million in revenue. As care.com started out in that caregiving model, they quickly expanded their platform to elder care, to tutoring, and to housekeeping. Our 5-year growth strategy is to onboard caregivers as well as families, expand throughout the United States, and to really expand our platform. So looking at partnerships with special needs foundations, schools, special needs service providers. Where can a family get a haircut? What dentist will see their child with autism? And making some strategic partnerships with Disney, Marriott, Ring, and Simply Safe, and then coming out with a premium concierge service. So we launched in 2023 here in Charlotte. We've onboarded over 30 caregivers, and we have 20 active families. 70% of our bookings that families put in, they are getting caregivers, and we've had 85 downloads of our app. We partnered with the Autism Strong Foundation here in Charlotte, and they've offered to purchase 70 subscriptions for families in need and pay for their caregiving. I've also, in the last few weeks, I'm really proud to say that Nitin Vig has joined. He's now my technical co-founder. He comes to the team with 3 startups and 1 to private equity. He's a full stack developer and innovator, and he's had various C-level positions. I myself have been in the special needs field for over 20 years, and I am a board certified behavior analyst. I have an amazing advisory board that consists of parents that I've actually met through the app that really wanted to jump on board. That's Sujit and Andrew, and Hannah has been an amazing advisor, tech advisor that I've met through Dell. And so what are families saying about us? These are actual either Facebook posts or responses that families have provided to me as well as caregivers. No, that's it. I'm done with 1 second to spare.
All right, Joyce, great job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, really, really good job. You, in my opinion, you hit all the things that, you hit the market. You walked through the details of kind of how the model works and how you're focused on, exactly the set that you're focused on. You talked about traction, you talked about reviews, like you hit all the things. Everybody should understand what you do, they understand where you are, and I would like to talk and hear more. Like I am begging to hear more of the business. So I think you nailed the, from the deck and all that, you did a great job. So my questions to you, I think, are, this is not about, there's a whole huge market on caregivers for elderly and all that. Like you are not taking that. Like this is 100% focused on, would you call it a certain age group, special needs, or could it be special needs for the elder?
It's special needs from birth to adulthood.
Okay.
So that can look in different ways. And what we've really noticed in the Charlotte areas, we call it the cliff. So when students age out of school at the age of 21, 22, there's no services for them. And then particularly what happens are moms are generally leaving their jobs because they need to stay home now. And so we don't want that to happen. We want to help fulfill a space. There's also the innovation waiver here in North Carolina. There's a 15,000 person waiting list for that waiver funding. And so families are really left in the lurch without getting access to any type of care.
Well, again, great job. I want to meet and hear more afterwards. Lots of questions in kind of the next level and scaling the business. It's a geographic scale, like some of those things. But from like what Chris said, your job is to get enough out there to get to the next meeting. I think you nailed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll echo that too. I'm ready for a second meeting as well. The way you told the story, kind of as I talked about in the beginning, just kind of exudes expertise. Like you just been thinking, living, breathing this problem, whether it's as a parent or as an educator or all these other things, and you're just like telling the story of this. You're like sitting in this position of customer, right? Like I wanted this thing needs to exist, and there's lots of people like me out there. And so I think just even the way that you tell the story kind of really makes it kind of like drives it home. So I guess one of the core questions is like, if you look at these trends, I would say there's probably nobody maybe super surprised at the trends that are going on, because almost everyone raised a hand of, do I know someone who has a special needs child, right? And so I think people are more aware of what's going on. What's happened with Care. Like I got the sense Care.com wasn't doing well. That's why it delisted and it was having some real problems.
So Care.com offers a box for caregivers to check that they're willing to watch an individual with special needs. But that doesn't mean that person that you're getting has any qualifications or ability to actually do that. And so there really isn't anybody in the marketplace in the private sector.
Given the enormous, and I'd almost call it semi-obvious market opportunity, why is that? Like what scares you about entering this market that maybe has kept other people from jumping into it?
I think that there's been an over-reliance on government funding for some of this. I think that's part of the issue. I think another big part of the issue is they don't know the market well enough. So that's another big issue. I think what we're really seeing and noticing is you have to kind of be pretty savvy, and I've learned some different things in being in this field, especially with the registered behavior technician that I mentioned. They work underneath a board certified behavior analyst, and quite frankly, they're hourly employees. If they don't see a client directly for applied behavior analysis services, they don't get paid. And so I'm really helping to support those individuals to stay in the field because we need them in droves. We have a second product coming out that I didn't talk about here that will actually be a driving force to bring RBTs to our site. And now we're going to be partnering with some applied behavior analysis organizations to help with scheduling and getting these people out into the field and fulfilling their schedules. So there's a second product coming in, and that's why Nitin has joined as my technical co-founder.
I know it's not in here. Do you have an ask? Is there something that you need right now, or are you bootstrapping this thing, or what do you think?
I am bootstrapping. Nitin has come on as my technical co-founder, and he's bringing the same amount of capital that I've already put in, so that'll help get us a little bit further. I did ask for $100,000 for 10% of our company, and I think we'll definitely be looking for funding.
I don't think you should sell 10% for $100,000. I'll just say, like, I've seen people pitch this and ask for $15 million valuation. I'm just saying, like, I think there's an opportunity here. I would invest in a designer, just because it's funny. We're like snobs when we look at these things. We see so many pitch decks that every little thing kind of goes to our inference of, like, we have to pattern match through 1,000 things a month, and so we just, like, have to curate really quickly. There's a great story here. I beg you not to sell for $100,000 10% of this company. I promise you that if you pitch it in the right thing, you'll get substantively more interest at a more impressive valuation. So we should talk about that. I'm not trying, unless David was going to come in at 100K. So, like, sorry if I did
completely.
That.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks. I was going to take that deal right after
yeah,
this.
I was going to say, I think you were about to get a term sheet. So, but overall, I think this is a really good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Yes.
So I had a question. Are there, like, adult autism centers kind of, like, after the 21? I know you said a lot of like schooling ends there, but is there, like, another?
There are some are particular about what type of individuals they'll take. Generally, they steer clear of anyone with some significant behavior issues. So there are a few. I've had a lot of families, Ruth, that I spoke about. She's actually started some micro businesses for her children, and I actually supply her with all of her supported employment individuals that come and work with her 2 children that have autism.
And then I just had another question. So I know you were saying you're trying to help these behavioral therapists get into the field. So just, I guess.
Get in and stay.
Yeah, because I was just going to double back on that. Like, is it hard right now, I guess, to find enough people to, support these families?
There isn't, it's not difficult. The caregivers I haven't done very little marketing. The caregivers have actually really talked about this among themselves, and the same thing with the families. They're coming to me in droves because they want to supplement their income, and so kind of really they want to be a part of this. Everybody who works with a family with a child with special needs that has behavioral challenges particularly knows how difficult it is for those families, and they're eager to give them a break.
Hey, great pitch. It was awesome. As someone that has household care, it resonated as a single mom of 4 kids. But I have a couple questions about the business model, and you may have covered it and I missed it because I can't see the whole slide. So are you planning, and given the $100 million, I think I know, are you planning to be a pass-through similar to Bambino for the funds? So we pay you, you pay the provider?
No, so how that works, that's a good question. Parents come onto the platform and they pay the subscription, and then they pay that caregiver privately, whatever the caregiver rate is.
I don't know if you guys would suggest, I think you should consider that later, but the other thing I was going to ask is about taxes, because of course in this kind of situation, one of the things care.com and ocare.com and all this do is they prep you have to pay household taxes, and then it's very overwhelming to individuals, and I was wondering if that is a service you'll offer?
So
or-
Care.com currently, you can pay through Care.com for their caregiving. One of the reasons why I didn't go that route is because I want to stay out of that tax piece. And so I don't know what the caregivers are making. It's up to them to pay their 1099 employees. It's up to them to declare their, what they've made and all that. So I stay out of that.
Once you match, do you just work with the caregiver directly to book, or do you still book through the app?
Everything gets booked through the app. I'm usually out at that point in time. If there's a specific family that has a unique challenge or a specific schedule that they really want me to help them out with, I will absolutely walk them through that process and help them.
Hey, I just want to piggyback on that. real quick.
Quick, because now that you're talking this through, I would say the one thing to be concerned about a little bit is leakage here, right? So I find someone that I like, I use them for a couple months, I cancel my subscription, I go straight through them.
Correct.
So I do think marketplaces have this problem of like when you find a good supplier, you sort of.
That's an interesting point. And some of us could just easily pick up and find another babysitter, maybe a little bit easier. But the nice part is they can keep coming back to the app to book. And if that caregiver that they use all the time isn't available, they have other options available to them.
All right,
So.
that's time.
Thank you.